I love anime, but I have no patience, so I'm going to give every new show of the Spring 2017 Season 1 episode to hook me. Welcome to Debut Review. Today's show has a really long title, and looking at the poster, it's probably a direct translation of whatever the original title is. So, WorldEnd, what do you do at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save ellipses? There's not enough room for the entire title. And this is way too small. I think the English title is written under the Japanese, but I can't read it. It's way too small. Is it part of the URL? Will you save us? Okay, that may be the whole thing. Actually, I had to turn this in horizontal because it's not wide enough for the entire thing. So, WorldEnd, what do you do at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? Intriguing questions. Alright. The fleeting and sad story about little girls known as fairy weapons. Oh, God. Alright. Little girl weapons. Alright. Little girls known as fairy weapons and an associate hero that survived. That survived what? I know I complain about this a lot, but seriously, who the hell is writing the show descriptions for Crunchyroll? Seriously, they are terrible to the point of genuinely incompetent, and that's really harsh and really mean to say, but damn! Anyway, now that I've got that out of my system, this is a world after it was attacked by unidentified monsters known as beasts, and many of the species in the world, including humans, had been destroyed. The species that had managed to survive left the ground and were living on a floating island called Regal L. William Kernish wakes up above the clouds 500 years later and couldn't protect the ones who he wanted to protect. Actually, he was living in despair because he was the only survivor. Oh my God. Crunchyroll, if you are paying someone, if there's someone on your payroll writing the show descriptions, let them go. I'm sure they're really nice and probably like a buddy of yours or related to you or something, but seriously, let them go. You've got to get someone else to write the show descriptions. If you're crowdsourcing the show descriptions, like if you're having, random people like me who watch shows on Crunchyroll write the descriptions for you, please hire somebody to write your show descriptions. Because you're killing me. I'm dying inside just a little bit every time I read one of these awful, 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 horribly composed show descriptions. And that's really mean to say, and I hate being mean, but golly! Yum. Okay, the world ends with you. What is it called? WorldEnd, what do you do at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? With little girls as fairy weapons. Oh, there's an upside down girl on here. Oh, the whole thing flips over if I try to. There's an upside down girl. Looks like she might have, like, wings or something behind her. I don't know. Well, it has places floating high in the sky, so she probably fell off. And she's going to crash into the ground and go splat. which is probably why she's like, hey, what are you doing at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save me? Because ground is approaching fast. Alright, let's give it a look-see. If nothing else, this show has a really kick-ass cover of Scarborough Fair in its opening. Maybe not as kick-ass as the barbershop arrangement of Scarborough Fair, but how many things are that cool? What is the barbershop arrangement of Scarborough Fair, you may ask? Well, it's 8 parts and I can sing one of them. Not just because I'm but one man, but because I can't sing very high, and I can sing the bass part, and, like, that's about it. So, search YouTube for Scarborough Fair Barbershop and enjoy! But this cover is really cool, I liked it. So the show is, interesting. It takes place in kind of a, on floating islands like we heard in the description, and it's kind of a fantasy world. There's a town, and everyone wandering around in it is a furry person. So, rabbit person, fox person, stag person, but there are also, there's like a goblin person, there's a frog person, and they call themselves, or rather they call humans, not disfeatured, I think. So if you don't have fur or horns or spiky teeth, then, you're a disfeatured person. And the townsfolk seem to be a bit on the bigoted side towards disfeatured folk. So it starts out with some gal, disfeature, that word just does not stick in my head, chasing a cat who stole her brooch. And she's on an upper walkway, and she falls off. And there happens to be a disfeatured guy in the crowd. And he, like, kind of teleports or something. She says something to herself as she's falling, like, oh darn, I can't do the verlarbal schnitz or whatever. Like, she has some magical stop myself from falling spell that she doesn't really have the power to cast right now. But luckily, other guy seems to teleport or do super speed to catch her and, well, basically act as her airbag. And she falls on top of him, and she loses her hat, and the other furry people, or, horned and furred and big toothy people, they're like, oh my gosh, it's a disfeatured person! Get out of town, you not furry person! Go back where you came from! Roar! And, so the two characters start talking to each other, and I guess the crowd is like, they're not listening. I guess we'll just go on our merry way, because we never see the crowd again, and no one else seems to care. Alright, whatever. So, he gives her his hood, which I thought was, like, attached to his cloak, but apparently he's wearing a cloak with a separate hood. So he gives her that, even though her cloak really, really, really looks like it has a hood attached to it. And he takes her to a hat shop and buys her a big hat, even though her cloak really looks like it has a hood attached to it, but, whatever. Maybe it's just a decorative flap and it doesn't flip up over her head. But all the featured people do not seem to notice that you're a disfeatured person if you're wearing a hat. So while the cool Scarborough Fair cover plays and we get some credits, it does a little montage of them walking around. She says, hey, before we go our separate ways, could you take me to that humongous building in the center of town? Couldn't possibly find my way to the humongous building in the center of town because I want to go up to the top and look at the view. And he says, okay. And during the montage, we see that he has to buy a map, and they can't seem to find where they're going, and maybe it's because he's looking at the back side of the map instead of the front side. Lord knows you need a map to find your way to the gigantic tower in the middle of town. And they have other adventures. They get chased by a bull. He walks in on a frog taking a bath. He gets attacked by chickens. And then they reach the top of the tower, and she goes, "My, what a lovely view." And he says, "Are those featured people with guns here for you?" And she goes, "Yep, forget you ever knew me. Bye!" And she leaves. So he's in a tavern drinking salty coffee, which is too salty. I don't know why the coffee is salty at all. Both the goblin and he are like, this coffee's a bit salty. It's like, why is it salty at all? It should not be salty. Where was I? Oh, so the goblin guy's like, "Hey, got a job for you." And he takes the job. He says, "It's guarding some military warehouse full of weapons." Alright. So he's walking along, crossing a bridge, and we've already established we're up on a big island, and like one of the planks in the bridge breaks, and unless I'm mistaken, there was no establishing shot. There was an establishing shot of like a small island. Imagine a landmass surrounding another, so it's like an island in the middle of a lake, but I didn't see a lake. I just thought it was I guess that's what it is. It's an island in the middle of a lake, not an island in the sky connected to another island. Because I thought he was on the here's the problem. I thought he was in danger of falling thousands of meters to his death. I thought this was over the sky. No, it's over about a foot of water. So he's walking along and singing a song side by side. There's a great barbershop arrangement of side by side too. I think Clay. It doesn't matter. So he's walking along the bridge, muttering to himself that I don't fight and I'm just a unfeatured person and I have no powers or fighting skills. And I'm thinking, but didn't you have like some type of super speed or teleport or something? That seems like super skill. And then some, I don't know, 6-year-old girl starts, invader! And she rushes him and starts swinging a stick at him. And he's like, my hair's long. And he's like dodging and stuff and not getting him. Like, you seem to be able to fight okay, or at least be able to dodge some 6-year-old swinging a stick. Then she does a flip at him and swings at him, and he gets out of the way, and she lands on the railing, and it cracks, and she falls, and he's like, no, and he grabs her, and then they fall in water, which is like, oh, I thought they were, like, gonna, again, I thought that was sky, but I guess it's water. I'd have to look at that establishing shot again. It's probably, on second look, clearly water, and not, but whatever. So he's escorted to the mansion where he's going, which is apparently the place that holds all the weapons, and he takes a shower, and then there's a knock on his door, and it's some woman who turns out she's a troll, although she looks human. In a series with a bunch of rabbit people and frog people and fox people and wolf people and goblins and all kinds of cool stuff, why does the troll just look like a regular woman? I don't get it. Is it because if she was depicted as something recognizably trollish, we wouldn't be turned on? It wouldn't be sexy enough? Probably the original character design was, oh, here's our troll. And it's like, I don't want to have sex with that. The cartoon? Right! It's a cartoon. I don't want to have sex with that. You don't want to have sex with a cartoon. Not that one. Draw a cartoon I want to have sex with. So you want me to make a sexier animated troll that you want to bone? Yes! What am I doing with my life? Anyway, that's my guess. And being a troll, she has the desire to eat him. Yeah, maybe not all of him, just an arm, maybe just a finger. She's like, "Can I eat you? Yeah, just a finger, a little bit." And then 4 little girls, like 6-year-olds, they're eavesdropping at the door, and they're all excitable. And she goes, "Go to bed or I'll eat you." And they go, "Ah," and they run away. So he goes to his room, and the little girls are eavesdropping at his door, and they're all excitable, and they're kind of adorable anyway. It's nice that they actually make the character... The young children that, at least in episode 1, and at least to me, were adorable rather than just annoying as hell. I mean, usually you have excitable little children, and I'd be like, I hope the troll eats all 4 of them. Seriously, I really do. Or someone just picks them up and drops them off the edge of the island. Bye! Hey, you know, in Zelda Skyward Sword, you know those weird floppy-eared cat creatures? The ones you can pick up and Link holds out in front of him like this? I totally chucked one right off the edge of Skyloft. Oh, it came back. It can fly with its ears, but yeah, I was constantly hitting him with a slingshot or picking him up and chucking him in the lake or picking him up and chucking him off the edge of the island. I'm a jerk. Where was I? Okay, so he's talking to the little girls, and then who else is at the mansion but the woman in the front of the episode who he bought a hat and wanted to see the tower and was escorted away by gun-toting peoples, and she's there too. And if you didn't guess, which you probably did because you read the show description, the women at the place that he's been... His job is to guard, as I think I mentioned, is to guard the warehouse full of weapons. Well, the warehouse is this mansion, the weapons are the women within it. I don't know if it's like all the women or just the little girls or what, but... I'm not sure where we're going with this. But we have our setup. Guy is going to take care of a house full of rambunctious kids. And a troll that might try to eat him. And another woman who he bought a hat. And then there's an epilogue, which says 526 years earlier. And it shows this guy again. So, oh, is he actually human? Because he'd be really, really, really old. So there's some interesting things going on. I will actually be checking out episode 2 of this. I do like fantasy stories, and I like it when anime or any show really sets up a new world. And this takes place in a new world of fantastical creatures, and it's got a troll that, if she didn't outright tell you she was a troll, you would not know her from a regular human woman. The characters are the ones we've met so far. Even the 4 rambunctious little kids, each one has a distinct personality, even with limited screen time, and that kind of impressed me. Just through their dialogue and how they're animated, I was impressed at how they differentiated all 4 of the little girl characters. A little tropey in some places, but I'm interested to see where this is going. So I'll probably pick up episode 2 and see where it goes. And again, that damn Scarborough Fair cover, pretty great. And again, check out the barbershop cover of Scarborough Fair, because it's good too. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? See you next time.